Okay, welcome to video 3. In this video, we will be going over Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. It nicely fits into everything we've been talking about so far. And I think this is originally written in the key of D, and since we've been talking so much about the key of C, we will transpose it into C, but we have gone a little bit into D, so maybe after doing it in C, we can do it back in D and kind of show you that you will be able to do this, and you could play a song like this or something similar in its original key or change it into an easier key if you want. That's one of the really cool things about this knowledge of chords and playing by ear is you can kind of just do that, and it's pretty impressive. Okay, so Here Comes the Sun. I think the original note is an F sharp, but we'll start it on that E. So the first chord, I'm playing it in the key of C. Just a little walkthrough of how you can figure that out. The first thing I tend to do is try and play the melody in my head, or try and pick that out on the piano. So if you just kind of sing it to yourself and you come up with something like dun, 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 dun. You're like, okay, that sounds about right. And the next step, and this is what's a little hard for people sometimes, and we'll practice this more in future videos if this seems kind of hard, but try and hear the bass note in your head. And if that is hard, which sometimes it is, another good trick is usually the first note or the first chord, if it is in the key of C, they tend to start on C. It's not always the case, but in this case it is, and in a lot of songs it is. So you've got that first chord is that C. So you just play that with your left hand. With your right hand, play the melody. And then if you hear in your head, it changes chords, goes down to this F. So let's play those together. And you can figure this out too. Maybe you're thinking, dang, how do you know it goes to that F? How do you know it doesn't go to like A or E or G? One of the ways to narrow it down, and this is something you can practice on your own, is try and hear in your head the difference between the major and minor chords. Just for example, just that F and an F minor, very distinctively different, right? This sounds a lot more somber, sad than that F major chord does. But in the key of C, again, we know we're only going to be hitting these white notes, so that narrows down your options quite a bit. It could only be the D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, or B diminished. You can kind of narrow that down. It's definitely not going to be the diminished because it kind of sounds a little more creepy to begin with, right? So it kind of narrows your options. Anyway, so playing that again. Maybe you can mess around and just play it until you think, okay, that sounds right. And if you hear it kind of goes up to the other major chord, goes back to C, that starting chord, and then it kind of walks with the left hand. It goes back to that F, and then it kind of goes down, but if you hear in your head, it doesn't necessarily get more sad. It kind of stays happy. They're playing a C chord on its first inversion. So they're playing, and they go down to a D minor. So this is the first time we've really played a minor chord. So they play, and they kind of resolve it on that G major again, your 5. Awesome, so give that a try. Just one more time, I'll play that all the way through. And if you get a little lost, you're thinking like, dang, what are you doing with your left hand? I really am just only playing chords and that D minor. The nice thing is, let's say you know it's a C chord. As long as you play any of those 3 notes anywhere on the piano, it doesn't sound that bad, right? That's still a C, that's a C, that's a C. Same with that F. You can play it in its root form, or you can extend it out. Play the A up here. That's just an F chord, right? F, C, F, A, C. And that is a G, right? G, D, G, B, D. That's just that G chord. Awesome, so that is Here Comes the Sun in C. I'll split this one into 2 videos. This next video, I'll just do that same thing in the key of D, so you can see that same pattern, but when you have F sharp and C sharp. And yeah, feel free to check that one out.